Hello friends, my name is Chrissy. Welcome to or back to my channel. And today we're talking about the resources, the information, what I'm using as I gather and prepare to record and to continue to record Inner Wands Tarot School content. You may notice me checking my watch every once in a while. I've started this video twice that has randomly stopped recording, so I've put on my watch so I can confirm that it's recording, so I'm not just, talking to the ether. So the first thing that happened differently for this round of the course is a crystal made it clear to me that it wanted to be my little buddy on this process. So this is a piece of clear quartz. Clear quartz is the master healer. It brings none of its own agenda. It just magnifies whatever we bring to it. And I love this piece in particular because one end is pointed, and even the point, like one point of that is really rough. And the other side is just, there's nothing smooth about it. It's worn down so that it won't cut anything, but it's not smooth at all. And there's even like a jagged piece here on the side. This is just really reminding me that I don't have to show up perfectly, that I can show up as myself with the raw edges, with the jagged edges, with the parts that are kind of wonky and funny and quirky. And I love having it here with me. So this is the book that I'm actually teaching from. It's a decomposition notebook. I love these so much. When I teach, I prop it up just slightly off camera just to make sure that I don't forget anything that's important. And for each card, I just make notes from each of the resources that I'll be showing you, and I talk through that. So the way that Inner Wands Tarot School works is there's a video each day for 78 days, or whatever time frame you want to work the program. About a 10-minute or so video for each card, where we check in with our intuition, with the guidebook, with my understanding of the card, and then we do a little 3-card spread using the card from the day before, the card of the day, and then a random card that we each choose individually. There are lectures involved as well that I recorded, and then 6 live sessions where we just get together and chat. I really enjoy the structure of this, and it's fun for me every time to be able to experience the tarot and my understanding of the tarot in a new way. This is the second time I've led Inner Wands Tarot School. We did it in January, and now we're doing it again starting on Sunday the 7th here in August of 2022. And there are people coming back, which is so exciting for me. But this is an opportunity to really get to understand tarot through the framework of a single deck of your choosing. So the resources that I am using, the first is this is my tarot book. This was the book that I made for Inner Wands round 1, and I go through all 78 cards, consulting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 guidebooks, a book, and a course. So 2 to 3 pages for each card. It's funny, this book is in the order of Inner Wands Tarot School round 1, so I am so glad that I have my little table of contents. This is also the book that I use to create my deck. So this book will always be important to me. And then another book that I am consulting heavily is the guidebook for the Tarot Disassembled, which you'll see in a moment as well. I think part of the process for me of connecting with a deck is being aware of the symbology in the deck, and especially when learning a new deck, and I have I think I have a Tarot Buddy video up on my YouTube somewhere, but really looking at how we can, if we already have a knowledge base with, say, like the Rider Smith or any other deck, when we get a new deck that we're trying to learn and bond with, to make those connections between the two. So part of what I'm doing this round is teaching the elements that are in the Rider Smith. So for the Five of Cups, we have the arrow, bridge, castle, cloak, cups, stage, tree, and water. Bringing a few of those to my little mini lecture, and then seeing where in our own deck that imagery shows up. So creating a connection not just to the Five of Cups in the specific deck that we're studying, but also being able to relate that to the Five of Cups in the Rider Smith, or the Five of Cups just tarot meanings in general. So I'm really excited to bring this this symbol work, this imagery work, into this next round of Tarot School. So finally, my favorite resource is the guidebook for my Narrative Alchemy Tarot. I have a keyword for each card, and this is something that I am bringing into this program just to really give it my feel, so that my presence is inside of the deck, or is inside of the school, really bringing my own kind of mental health spin into the work. So there are 4 decks that I am teaching from, and 2 decks that I am personally studying with. So the first one is the decks I'm teaching with. So these come out in every session. The first is the Kawaii Tarot. These are in order, so I'm really hoping that I don't mess them up too badly. I'll just show you a little bit here at a time and make sure I put them face down. So this is a completely a pip deck, which I think is interesting to see when we're studying tarot, to connect with, to be able to even see some of the symbology within the way that the elements are represented. In the majors, it's a little bit easier, right? But having a pip deck on display on my little teaching area felt important, because I think sometimes we can really just say, I don't read pips, I'm not interested in reading pips, and kind of just put them to the side. Where I think having their own little place is worthy and worthwhile. And then I'm also using a Rider Smith deck. This is the borderless Centennial. They all should have the 6 of Pentacles on top if I'm doing this right. And again, just another opportunity to see the symbology of the cards in a traditional style. It's funny when I put these all out together, like they're not necessarily pretty together, but I think this is, this is how we learn tarot, and it doesn't have to be aesthetically cooperative in order for it to work, to be able to get the messages across. The next deck I am using to teach with is the Tarot Disassembled. This deck is fantastic, but it is not a cooperative shuffler, so I honestly have some trouble with it. So I figured if I'm going to use it and justify the expense, then I really need to teach with it. And this is really a good way to think about the symbology, to be able to remove any story from the card and be able to say, okay, so in the 6 of Pentacles in the deck that I am studying, what can I correlate with the castle? What can I correlate with scales? What can I correlate with tree? What can I correlate with a stage? Or let's say, for the 7 of Swords, what could resemble a mask? What could resemble a tent? What could resemble a fire? Or a porcupine? What does the porcupine mean? What in my card could have similar meaning or understanding as the porcupine? So one of these that I recorded the night of the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Pentacles in my study deck is riding a hippo, and the hippo is wearing a red cape. So even though the sign of like protection and but also like fire and moving forward, and it's okay, and if it doesn't pick up blood, so it might get messy, but nobody has to know. This red cloak being on the hippo was able to bring that imagery into the card in the deck that I am studying with. So yeah, I think this is a great way, even though I don't know that I can read with this deck, because it is, again, impossible to shuffle. It's a thick, really inflexible cardstock, and I think this is what is this, rose petal finish? I'm not even sure, but impossible to even overhand shuffle. So it's a study deck for me, and it helps to bring the elements together without the overarching storyline of the cards, which I think can help bring those connections together. And this was edged in a really nice matte red when I received it. And then the final study deck that I'm bringing is, of course, my baby. Let's use the one the one that I'm teaching with, the one that's in order. It's over here. The Narrative Alchemy Tarot. So here I have a keyword and a chakra for each card that really roots in my understanding. So yeah, I think bringing this in both for my experience and it brings both my experience and my voice into the course. So I love having it here. So these, let's go ahead and get the Six of Pentacles on top here. Cups. Okay. So these are the 4 decks that I am teaching with, that are out on my mat as I'm teaching through the cards in the recording. Now, the deck that I am studying with through the teaching process, this deck is not in order, is the Guided Hand Tarot. So this is where, this is the deck that I am going through in my notes as the teacher, and being able to point out the symbols. So for the Hangman, for example, we have the light that's coming down, so that the wisdom that comes down through this posture. We have the rope that's also here on our figure. We have the bent knee, kind of bringing in that the yoga tree pose, but upside down and being really off balance. We have the expression on her face that is not painful. So this acknowledgement of like, we're here by choice. So really being able to bring those, the symbology into whatever deck we're studying. So this is the deck that I am talking through in my recording. So for example, here in the Two of Pentacles, we have the hands that are balancing the current pentacles. We have the zoomed out view with the mat behind. So what is the long-term balance that we're managing at the same time? So yeah, this is the deck that I am teaching from in the moment as I record the sessions, to bring the symbology of the Rider-Waite-Smith through the Tarot Disassembled, and then applying that to the card that we're studying, along with my keyword as well. And this has been a really, really fun practice for me to talk through this live. And then the deck that I am actually studying as we go through this journey, because I really think it's important for me to practice what I preach, practice what I teach, and to also be studying a deck on my own that I don't share with my students as I teach, but that I am invested in. And I have chosen the Tarot Volatile. And this deck has a lot of things to say to me. It's not in order either, so it's okay if I mess it up. But this is my personal daily draw that on the days that the recording goes live, or that would follow the schedule, I rewatch and bring this deck into my experience. So as I record, I'm looking at how the Hanged Man would fit in, but then as I study myself, then I would look at Prudence. So I'm actually learning 2 decks. I'm learning a deck as I teach and a deck as I experience, just because I feel like it's important to be able to know. And here's the lovely 2 of Pentacles again. This is my favorite card right now. To be able to experience my course as a student as well, and to remind me why I do this and why this practice is important to me, and to really keep myself in a place of both student and teacher all the time. And I honestly think that comes from my experience of when I taught yoga. I am the kind of teacher that would practice through the class. And I think that's part of where this energy comes from. So yeah, this is my process for teaching and experiencing Inner Wands Tarot School. Teaching with 4 decks, experiencing 2, and developing the curriculum sort of as I go. And what I love so much about this is each day we relate the card of the day to the card of the previous day, or if not day, the most recent card to the current card to the most recent card, and then drawing in a 3rd random card. So being able to see the progression and to learn to make connections each day as we go. So yeah, that's it. My cards, my resources for Inner Wands Tarot School. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. If you're interested in joining us, we start on Sunday, August 7th. I will probably keep registration open for a week or so after that, because no one's really gonna do this for 78 days, so it's okay if you're a little bit behind. Because there's no such thing as behind. There are people that started in January that I can see are still working through the content, and that's absolutely fine. And once you're in the Discord group, you're never out. So that's another fun bonus of this, I think. So thank you so much for joining me. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you soon, maybe in Tarot School.